Himali?
Yes, sir.
अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम्ही से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। ओ मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So today we are going to begin with Bara Bhavna, 12 contemplations or 12 reflections. So the word used in Vitrag Vigyan was, I think, 12 reflections, but a good word would be 12 contemplations. Now, when we say contemplations, what does it mean? Simply thinking, we are thinking, we are having thoughts on that, right? That is contemplation. Chintan, Manan, Vichar, all these forms a part of contemplation. So, this Bara Bhavna is a very popular doctrine in Jainism. We have read Bara Bhavna in Vitrag Vigyan, then we have read Bara Bhavna in, I think, Pujan also. Dev Shastra Guru Pujan also there was Bara Bhavna. And then, but now, so in Chaidala also we did Bara Bhavna, right? So we are quite aware of the names of the 12 contemplations, and we are also aware of the functioning of each of these 12 contemplations. But here we are going to do an analysis, a careful and detailed study, investigation, examination, okay? All this means Anushilan. So in Hindi, the word is Anushilan, and in English, what we are going to do is a proper analysis on Bara Bhavna, critical study on Bara Bhavna, detailed study, investigation on Bara Bhavna. You can add the word research also, because Dr. Parilji has referred to around 15 Bara Bhavnas in each of the chapters. Okay, different from reference. Kundkund Acharya has also written Bara Bhavna. So there are around 100 Bara Bhavnas available. Okay, which are written by, some of them have been written by Acharyas, and then some of them have been written by ordinary monks, and then some of them have been written by scholars. Okay, so Bara Bhavna is a very popular topic in Jainism, and most of the households, those who are connected with Jainism from the beginning only, they have a practice to recite this Bara Bhavna every day as part of their core duty, So, very popular, but we will be looking on this 12 contemplation from the perspective of discriminative knowledge. So 12 contemplations for us is nothing but 12 ways of practicing discriminative knowledge. Bhed Vigyan. Got it, Jia? Bhed Vigyan. Okay. What will we yield by doing this discriminative knowledge? So there are two different things and appearing as one. So when we go through this process of discriminative knowledge, we realize that these two are different. That much is only Bhed Vigyan. When two things are different, then how can one thing can do anything for the other, right? So if you want to manifest religion, now religion is a property of the soul. So how can you do religion with mind, speech and body, which is again a matter substance, right? So here you need to analyze, you need to think, then only you lead to a decision that two different things are two different things. This much only. They don't become one. Even if we assume that no, I am the body, I am only good looking, I am only intelligent, I can talk, I can explain, I can earn money, I can cook the food. We have so many things in our mind, right? Because of ignorance, because of delusion, these thinking have been part of our life since time immemorial. Now here we are going to change that perception, change that thinking, that no, there we are not body, we are not mind, speech and body, we are pure soul. And what is the function of pure soul? What is the function, Jia?
To know.
To know. Very good. To know, only to know. Nothing else we can do as a soul entity. Okay. Our primary function is to know. We cannot go beyond that. Right? It is in our
So
Yeah, can you all see the video? My video seems to be frozen.
no, no.
No, no, we too can't see.
That's true. Yeah, thanks.
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I think that some Wi-Fi problem at my end. So my even this connectivity is bit low. So I'm stopping my video, but we'll continue with the study. And what will happen about the recording live? It's going on, no? On YouTube,
Yes, sir. It's
or
going on.
it has got disconnected.
It's going on.
It's going on. Okay, so fine. We are fine with that. So we were discussing contemplations. Okay. So what is contemplation? The name of the topic is Anushilan. Bara Bhavna Ek Anushilan. So we are going to do a very critical and detailed study, investigation, analysis of 12 contemplations. Okay. So we are aware of this topic because we have done it in 1 minute. Let's see. One minute. Okay, I'm not able to join. Still now the problem continues. So anyway, we will manage with the mobile. Okay. So these 12 contemplations are 12 different ways of practicing discriminative knowledge, nothing else. Okay. So we will be learning 12 tricks how to discriminate between two things and get into one of the things, because one is going to bring happiness, and if we connect to the other thing, we are going to suffer. Okay, so two different things at the same place. We have to practice our discriminative knowledge to know the differentiation and connect with one which is going to bring happiness, and if we connect with the wrong one, we are going to suffer. Okay, so 12 contemplations is nothing but 12 ways of performing discriminative knowledge. Now we will read from the textbook. We are on to page number 9 straightway. Before that, there are introduction, so that we can skip. You can even if you are taking a printout, you can take printout from page number 9. Go ahead, go ahead. Page 9. You can see 001. We have to come to 009. Yes, 4, 6, 7, 8, 11. No, 9, 9, 9, 9. Come back. 11, come 10, 9, 9, 9, 9. Okay. So this is where we start from. Anupreksha. So Bara Bhavna is also called Anupreksha. 7. You have gone to 7. 8. 9. Next. Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
So this only, no? In
Again,
the
8.
composition of this work.
Next
This is 8. This is 8. No.
Okay.
You can see 008. This
Right.
is 0. Yeah, this is 009.
Okay.
Yes, yes. You have to follow this page number only, 009. Now PDF, I think this would be something different page, but we are concerned with the textbook page number, which is in Hindi. It is 009. Anupreksha and exercise. So exercise would not be a good word to use for Anushilan, but as I said, we are doing a careful and critical study. Analysis, investigation would be a good word. Now, this is a Hindi translation. This is an English translation of the Hindi words that are mentioned over there. So it says, मैं ध्येय हूँ, मैं ध्येय हूँ, मैं श्रद्धेय हूँ, मैं ज्ञेय हूँ, मैं ज्ञान हूँ. Okay. I am ध्येय. ध्येय means ध्यान का जो विषय है उसको कहते हैं ध्येय. Object of meditation is called ध्येय. So I am ध्येय means I am worthy of meditation. I means soul, myself, soul. I am Shraddhay. Shraddhay means worthy of reverence. Then I am Gney. I am the object of knowledge. Okay. So there are many things reflecting in our knowledge, but what we want to focus at, we want to focus on ourselves because that is going to bring happiness. If I am focusing on other objects apart from my soul, I am going to manifest sadness, sorrow, grief, okay, emotions, all these. So I am Gney. So I am worthy of meditation, I am worthy of reverence, I am the object of knowledge, and I myself am knowledge. Although knowledge is my attribute, but we always mix up attributes with the substance and we call it that I am knowledge. No problem in that. I am merely the state of being a knower. Just now, Gia, I asked you what the soul can do. And Gia immediately replied, we can only know. What is the function of the soul? To know. So I am merely the state of being a knower. Okay. I cannot do anything beyond knower, beyond knowing. Okay. I am Bhagwan, the divine myself. I am the pure soul. I am the Paramatma. I am the complete soul. Recognizing this truth is the essence of bhavana, reflection, contemplation. What is the purpose of this contemplation? Recognizing that this truth. What is truth? What truth we want to recognize, Jia? Hemali. What truth we want to recognize?
So that he
Is
is,
the essence of,
yeah,
pardon?
so he wants to recognize these truths only, that he's the soul and the
I
soul.
am the Bhagwan, the word. I am divine myself. I am the pure soul. I am the complete soul, consisting of a mass of infinite attributes. This is the truth that we want to recognize. Just because we ourselves believe that we are worthless, and that's why we are dependent on others, and we always crave for other support, we always crave for others gratifications and all. But we are ourselves mass of infinite attributes. We are complete in ourselves. Okay. So this is the truth that we have to recognize, and this is the bhavana. Recognizing this truth is the essence of bhavana. So this bhavana will lead to the self-realization. Devotion to the eternal abode is the essence of devotion. So when we want to devote, we would devote to whom? To our pure soul. Okay. And that is the essence of devotion. If you are devoting at the wrong place, then it is not worth doing. Okay. So whom you should devote, whom should you pray, whom should you respect, what is worthy of meditation, what should be the object of your knowledge, everything reflects to only one thing, that I am the pure soul. So everything is being written for this statement only, that I am the pure soul. The sooner you realize, the sooner you accept, the more blissful journey would be yours. Okay. There is no way that there is nothing called sorrow in this world. Sorrow is because of our expectation. Sorrow is because of our wrong imagination. Sorrow is because of delusion. Sorrow is because of ignorance. Okay. Now you realize the truth, and there will be no nothing to worry about, nothing to, you know, uh, experience grief, misery, nothing. Because soul is full of infinite attributes, and you are independent to connect to your soul and enjoy the eternal bliss, because soul is full of eternal bliss. Soul does not contain any attribute which can bring sorrow, misery, grief, pain in your life. Okay, so with this principle, we will study this 12 contemplation. For us, these 12 contemplations are 12 ways of practicing discriminative knowledge. And when we practice discriminative knowledge, that is the time we enjoy the eternal bliss. Okay. Moment we forget our connection, moment we forget our nature, and that moment only the sorrow begins. Okay. So if you want to be happy always, you have to remember that you have to recognize the truth that I am the pure soul. I am the Bhagwan. I am Bhagwan Atma. Okay? I am not the body. I am not the temporary emotions. I am not the temporary passions. Everything is transitory and I am the permanent one. Okay? This is the first contemplation, Anitya Bhavana. Impermanence of the world. Everything is impermanent and I am only permanent. Okay? So in this way, we will be practicing the science of discrimination in 12 ways. So after studying this, you will be equipped with 12 different tools to practice science of discrimination in any situation in your life. Okay. Supposing you are having a pain in your head, then at that moment, you could be in distress, you could uh, experience anxiety, you could experience sorrow, and in the same time, at the same time, by applying this discriminative knowledge, you can just think on these lines that the paining is happening in the body. The soul does not have pain. The soul has only to enjoy, right? So when we identify ourselves with the body, we experience pain. When we identify ourselves with the soul, we experience happiness. Now this is the difference. And this is called science of discrimination. This is a science. You have to apply logic and then you have to arrive at a conclusion. And then the bliss will follow. Okay. So now we'll study. Amitaji, you start reading from the beginning. Anupreksha contemplation is the most widely discussed topic in Jinagam, Jain scriptures.
In every Pratmanuyog scripture, its description is invariably included in context. However, many independent texts have also been written on this topic. Even great acharyas like Kunkundacharya considered it essential to write on this topic independently. Beyond the Pratmanuyoga and the independent texts, the entire Jainagama has adequately shed light on this subject at the appropriate places. If the entire Anupreksha literature, thank you, sir. Beyond the Pratmanuyog and independent texts, the entire Jainagam has adequately shed light on this subject at the appropriate places. If the entire Anupreksha literature found in the Jainagam is compiled, a vast reference text can be prepared. The purpose of this exercise is not to analyze the Anupreksha literature or to prepare its reference text. Our intent is to present an analytical study of the nature of the Anuprekshas in the light of the Jainagam, to explore their necessity and utility in spiritual life, and to conduct a rational analysis of their contemplative value. Our aim is to investigate the primary perspective and central focus of the presentation style of the Anupreksha literature. Since Anupreksha are of 12 types, they are mostly known by the name 12 Bhavanas reflections. The most popular name among people is 12 Bhavanas. The term Anupreksha is known to very few outside the scholarly community. Should I read page 10, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Singing or humming the 12 Bhavanas in verse form is an integral part of the daily routine for our devout mothers and sisters. It is the most cherished mental nourishment for spiritual and religious individuals. The 12 bhavanas, which are described as the source of joy for the Bhavya Jnanananda, the beings destined for liberation by Swami Kartikeya, and as the direct cause of liberation by the Supreme Acharya Kunkunacharya, naturally become the possession of the masses. The statement of Acharya Kunkunacharya expressing the greatness of the 12 bhavanas is as follows. Kim Palav, okay, I'm going to read from my, sorry, it's easier to read in this script.
You can skip
Kim,
that. You can straightway go for the description.
okay. The statement, okay. Just understand this. Sorry. Meaning, what more can be said about this subject? Just understand this. The greatness of these 12 bhavanas is the cause of the liberation of all the great souls who have attained liberation in the past and all those bhavya jivas, souls destined for liberation, who will attain it in the future. Acharya Padmanand also considers them the cause of the destruction of karma, meaning great souls should always contemplate the 12 bhavanas, for their contemplation is the cause of the destruction of karma. Subha Chandracharya enumerates the benefits of contemplating the 12 bhavanas as follows. Through the practice of these 12 bhavanas, the fiery passion of the soul, which is in the form of kashai, becomes calm. Rag, attachment dissolves, darkness is dissolved, and the Jnana Rupi Deepak, lamp of knowledge, shines forth in the heart of the person. Pandit Daulat Ramji in Chardala writes, just as the mother gives birth to her soul, to her son, in the same way, these 12 bhavanas give rise to vairagya, renunciation. This is the reason why a highly fortunate, blessed, great soul, a Mahavratdhari monk carrying great vows, who is deeply detached from worldly enjoyments, also engages in contemplation of these 12 bhavanas. Just as the wind causes the fire to ignite, in the same way, the contemplation of these 12 bhavanas awakens a balanced state of bliss. Samyak Rupi bliss. When the soul comes to know and realize Atma as its true self, unites with it, and remains content in it, then only does it attain transcendental bliss, the state of moksha, liberation, which is complete and beyond the senses. Anupreksha means contemplation, is the repeated contemplation. To deeply reflect on any subject by repeatedly contemplating its nature is anupreksha. Although contemplation is done to discern the true nature of a thing, when the subject is pleasing, the contemplated subject itself becomes a source for repeated anupreksha.
Stop.
Mhm.
So you see, we have discussed 5 points. Why, first of all, the question starts here that why, first of all, we should contemplate. What is the use of doing this contemplation? So, although the author has referred references from different acharyas, we can start with the on the page number 10. the 12 bhavnas which are described as the source of joy. So this is the first references that has given. Why we are doing this 12 contemplation? Because it is a source of joy for the Bhavya Jnananand, it's written. So you can cancel that word, for the beings destined for liberation. So Bhavya Jeev are those souls who are going to get liberated very soon. So they are Bhavya Jeev. Okay. So they are destined to get liberation by Swami Kartakya. Who has mentioned this? Swami Kartikya. So Swami Kartakya mentions that 12 contemplation is a source of joy. Then what Kunkundacharya has to say? And as the direct cause of liberation. So Acharya Kunkundev says that this 12 contemplation is a direct cause of liberation. So by doing this contemplations, you will get liberated. Now, we will be seeing the third point coming up. So what Kunkundacharya has expressed in 12 contemplation, that is given on the next page. Those who have the greatness of these 12 bhavnas is the cause of the liberation of all the great souls who have attained liberation in the past, and all those souls destined for liberation who will attain it in the future. So Acharya Kunkun says that this is a cause of liberation, and he justifies it by saying that all those who have got liberated in the past, who are getting in the present, and who will get in the future, that will all be because of these contemplations. So we have done two reasons. First, by Kartikeya Swami, he says it's a source of joy. Second, by Acharya Kunkundev, who is seeing it as a cause of liberation. Now the third point. Third point is by Acharya Padmanandi. Acharya Padmanandi has written Padmanandi Panchvishitika, very great scripture, and in that he mentions that great souls should always contemplate the 12 bhavnas, for their contemplation is the cause of the destruction of karma. So this is the third reason why we are doing contemplations, because it's a source of joy, it's a cause of liberation, and it's a cause of destruction of karma. 3 points. Now the fourth point is the reference taken from Shubh Chandracharya. Okay, Shubh Chandracharya enumerates the benefit of contemplating the 12 bhavnas as follows. So this is the fourth point. Through the practice of these 12 bhavnas, the fiery passion of the soul, okay, the fiery passion of the soul, which is in the form of kashai, passions, poisonous attachment, becomes calm. Then what else happens? Attachment dissolves. Then what happens? Darkness is dissolved. What is this darkness? Darkness is the ignorance. So the darkness of ignorance is dissolved. And the fourth, and the lamp of knowledge shines forth in the heart of the person. Okay. So according to Shubh Chandracharya, 4 things happens if you are practicing these 12 contemplations. Okay. First of all, the passions becomes calm. The attachment dissolve. Darkness dissolve. Lamp of knowledge shines. Okay. So 4 things happening. So this was the 4th point. Now the 5th reference we have taken, the author has taken it from Daulat Ramji, Chedala. Okay, Pandit Daulat Ramji. Just as a mother gives birth to her son, in the same way, these 12 bhavnas give rise to Vairagya. Now, what is this Vairagya? Not renunciation. Here it is used in the sense of detachment. So, these 12 bhavnas give rise to detachment. This is the reason why a highly fortunate, blessed, great soul, a Mahavratadari monk, carrying great woes, who is deeply detached from worldly enjoyments, also engages in contemplation of these 12 bhavanas. Okay, so uh, uh, this was the fifth reason. Okay, so we have seen 5 reasons. I'm repeating it. First of all, it's a source of joy. Second, it's a cause of liberation. Third, it's a cause of destruction of karma. And fourth, there were 4 things altogether. Passions become calm, attachment dissolved, darkness is dissolved, lamp of knowledge shines. And the fifth reason, that these leads to detachment. What it leads to? Detachment. Now, detachment and the first reason was joy. Are they connected? Can anyone give me a good logic? The connection between the joy and detachment.
Yes, sir.
Anyone want to try? Yeah, tell me.
Sir, the true joy lies within. True or infinite bliss is the attribute of the soul, pure consciousness.
Hmm,
And
hmm,
when one
hmm,
gets detached from the outside world, then only he can reside or he can engross in himself and he can
hmm.
be truly joyful. So these are
Okay,
things that happen simultaneously, detachment from the outer things and connection to the inner pure soul, which is very joyful.
very good, very good. Anyone else would like to add something to this? So I will. What Soumya has said is right, and I'm taking that part from the negative side. So when we manifest attachment to something, it's a cause of sorrow. Okay, attachment is a cause of sorrow. So when we detach, automatically it's a cause of joy. So detachment and joy are interconnected. When you are detached, that is the time you connect to your soul and you enjoy eternal bliss. Okay, so these are more or less the same things. So again, destruction of karma and liberation are also connected. Okay, and uh, destruction of karma, liberation, and these 4 things like passions becomes calm, attachment dissolves are all you can say a side effect of all these things. Okay, so everything is connected, and so these are the 5 reasons why we are doing this 12 contemplations. Then there are some other reasons which has been nicely enumerated in Ratnakaran Sravakachar. The commentary on that by Pandit Sada Sukdas ji. Okay, so Ratnakaran Sravakachar is written by Samanbhadra Acharya, and the commentary on that was written, one of the commentaries has been written by Pandit Sada Sukdas ji. Okay, now Pandit ji wrote an independent chapter on this contemplations uh, in that particular scripture, Ratnakaran Savakachar, while he was writing a commentary. Okay, and in that particular chapter, he wrote 6 types of contemplations. Okay, out of which Bara Bhavna is one. Then we have Sola Karan Bhavna. Then we have uh, uh, 5 Anuvrat ki 5 Bhavna. So 25 Bhavnas of these 5 minor vows. Okay, so 3. Then we have Das Lakshan Dharma also as a Bhavna. 4th, then we have 4 Bhavna. Maitri, Pramod, Karuna, Madhyas. These are 4 Bhavna. And then we have one more Bhavna. I think it is Dharma Bhavna. So there are 6 ways by which these contemplations could be expressed. Okay. So in the starting of that chapter itself is of 150 pages. To explain these 6 kinds of contemplations, he has taken 150 pages, he has written 150 pages of commentaries, and that are very interesting for your self-study. Of course, we are not covering that as part of the syllabus in Parmagam, but nevertheless, when you finish this Parmagam, you can study on your own. So what I have shared 2 clips yesterday is the introduction of that chapter, and if you see that, you could see, Soumya, if you can share that clip, there it says that this contemplations is a cause of self-realization. Okay, so this contemplation leads to self-realization. Okay, how it can lead to self-realization? Because when you experience yourself, immediately prior to that, there will be these contemplations. So that is the why when a monk initiates into monkhood, what is the first thing that they do? They recite Bara Bhavana. When a monk is undergoing afflictions, upsarga, what he does at that point of time? He contemplates on these 12 reflections. Okay, so this is a very, very important tool in the path of liberation. Every now and then we will be using this tool to navigate the problems that comes up in our life. Okay, so this has got wide applications. Okay, so it's going to be a part of our life. It is already a part of our life. So just we are putting words to it. Otherwise, as a practice, we are already into it. Okay. Whenever you start practicing science of discrimination, you are indulging in this 12 contemplations, because initially the contemplations will be there, and then the contemplation will stop and the experience will start. Okay. Eternal bliss, experience of eternal bliss will start. Okay. So we have discussed what are the reasons for doing this. Now we can move forward. The last paragraph I would like to repeat. It's a very good paragraph, written also very nicely in Hindi and translated also very nicely in English by Chat GPT. Anupreksha meaning contemplation. Okay, Anupreksha meaning contemplation is the repeated contemplation. Okay, Anupreksha itself means contemplation, and when we say contemplation means repeated contemplation. Barambar chintan, barambar manan, barambar vichar, to deeply reflect on any subject. How do you go deep into any subject? You have to keep on repeating the contemplations. Okay, so that is what it is written here. To deeply reflect on any subject by repeatedly contemplating its nature is anupreksha. Okay, so how do you go deep into any scriptures? By repeating it again and again, making it as a part of your thought process is what contemplation is all about. Okay, to deeply reflect on any subject by repeatedly contemplating its nature is anupreksha. Although contemplation is done to discern, so discern means know. Okay, to discern means to know. Although contemplation is done to know the true nature of a thing, when the subject is pleasing, like the soul, okay, the contemplated subject itself becomes a source for repeated anupreksha. Okay, why you want to repeat it again? Because you want to enjoy those moments. Okay, supposing if you go to a restaurant and if you like the food very much, every time you will pass from there, you will remember that taste because you have enjoyed that. Okay, so when the subject is pleasing, okay, when the subject is pleasing, the contemplated subject itself become a source of repeated contemplation, repeated contemplation, repeated contemplation. Okay, so this was very nicely written. Now we move ahead. Next page, page number 12. Contemplation is the initial form of meditation. Now, meditation is dhyan. It is the ultimate cause of liberation. Whoever got liberated, they have got liberated by doing meditation. Now, before meditation, what happens is contemplation. Okay, so contemplation precedes meditation, and meditation leads to liberation. So again, we can say that contemplation is a cause of liberation. Okay. So all things are connected. We are finding the connections, and after finding the connections, what we are experiencing is eternal joy. Okay. So now, who will read? Soumya, you only read.
Sure, sir. This is Soumya from this side.
Yeah,
Chintan.
yeah, no problem.
Contemplation
Hmm.
is the initial form of meditation, that is dhyan. Since interest or inclination is the regulator of meditation, it also regulates chintan. The object that aligns with our interest naturally becomes the object of our meditation, and its contemplation and reflection follow naturally. The desire to know a subject also motivates chintan. The stronger the desire to know, the deeper the chintan will be. Therefore, Chintan also serves as a foundation for research and inquiry. Shodh Khoj. In this way, we observe that Chintan can be for understanding a subject as well as for understanding what has already been understood. Since Anupreksha is a form of Chintan, it is knowledge based, Jnanatmak, and not meditation based, Dhyanatmak. Explaining the difference between Anupreksha and Dhyan, Achar Aklankdev writes, because Anupreksha is absorbed into Dharma Dhyan, spiritual meditation, it is inappropriate to regard them as separate. If anyone were to claim otherwise, their statement would not be correct because Anupreksha is Gyan Pravarti Vikalpa Prarup, the form of knowledge and discernment. When contemplation of transient and other similar of subjects becomes knowledge based, it is called Anupreksha. And when the mind becomes concentrated on transient and other subjects, it is called Dharma Dhyan. The contemplation that is focused on the Tattva-parak Chintan, essence or fundamental nature of truth, which leads to the rise of renunciation, is Anupreksha contemplation. Is there any sentient being with mind who is free from contemplation? For ordinary people, the subject of their contemplation is usually related to the five senses. The cycles of passion, kashai, governs their stream of contemplation. So, should I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Okay. The contemplation carried out with the aim of fulfilling the desire for Vishay, worldly attachment, is not anupreksha, but rather chinta, concern or anxiety. This chinta is even more burning than chitta, the funeral pyre. It is stated, chinta burns the consciousness, chitta burns the lifeless. The necessity is not for training in Chintan or Dhyan meditation, but for right guidance of direction. This is because Chintan and Dhyan are inherent qualities of a sentient being. If the flow of Chintan and the objective of Dhyan are not right or clear, then Chintan and Dhyan will not lead to liberation, but rather become the cause for wandering through the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, regulating the flow of Chintan is not just necessary but essential. The right regulation of the flow of Chintan is the foundation of the practice of the 12 bhavanas, contemplations. The transient nature of associations, the perversion of transformation, generation of transformation that bring about happiness and rarity through the inherent capability and support of self nature, Swabhav, are the central point of the presentation of the 12 bhavanas. This is because such a chintan is capable of giving the right awareness, right direction through its renunciation producing and truth focused nature. From this perspective, if we leave aside the widely prevalent sequence of the 12 contemplations and certain exceptions of bhavanas, and if we study the universally accepted sequence of the 12 contemplations, we will naturally observe that the initial six contemplations are Vairagyopadak, causing the rise of renunciation, while the concluding six are focused on the principle of truth. A natural progression is also evident in the sequence of each contemplations. To understand this in
Stop,
okay.
stop. So now this laptop is I think now it's working fine. So should I come back to that? The recording will continue, or what will happen, Soumya?
So let me check in the YouTube.
You just check now. Himali joined on.
So I had joined, I had just forgotten to change
Okay.
my husband's name. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. No, it is there. Your name is there. I didn't see it. Should I switch over from mobile to laptop? Because last time I tried it to switch, the meeting ended, so that's why we have to start the meeting again.
So in
Any idea?
you can keep it mute and join from the laptop.
Okay.
That way recording.
Okay.
Recording.
So okay. Recording will continue, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, I'll do that one later. But let me. Yes. Let's hope it works. One. Yes. Now can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's hope the recording goes on. Otherwise, anyway, we will enjoy this 12 contemplations. These are very good. So the discussion started after knowing the 5 reasons why we should contemplate, and also referring to the Ratnakaran Sravakachar, where it shows that it's again a cause of self-realization. So whatever we want in terms of path of liberation, everything we are going to get from these 12 reflections, that only makes it so important. Now these 12 reflections are of 2 types, okay? One is knowledge based and the other is meditation based, okay? So knowledge based is nothing but it's just a thought process. Vikalp, Vikalp means reflective thought. Vikalp means rambling. Vikalp means abstraction. So there are different words coming given in the Google. If you search for what you called vikalp, reflective thoughts, okay, it's a cause of restlessness. So bara bhavna, if you are using it in the sense of just thought, it is a knowledge based. But when you use it as a meditation based, okay, then it's a cause of eternal bliss, it's a cause of true religion, okay. So we have 2 types of contemplations. If it is knowledge based, then it's vikalpatmak, so it's basically the thoughts. And if it is meditation based, then it's just going to lead you to eternal bliss, okay. So in the next paragraph, explaining the difference between anupreksha and dhyan, Acharya Akalang Dev writes, because anupreksha is absorbed into dharma dhyan. Absorbed into dharma dhyan means anupreksha or bara bhavana leads to true religion. Okay, dharma dhyan, true religion. Anupreksha leads. So in the initial stage, it is the contemplation, and that contemplation stops and the self-realization starts. Self-experience starts. Okay. So anupreksha is absorbed into dharma dhyan, spiritual meditation. It is inappropriate to regard them as separate because both are connected. That is the first stage and that is the second stage. Anupreksha is the first stage and dhyan is the second stage. So both are connected. If anyone were to claim otherwise, their statement would not be correct. because anupreksha is Gyan Pravarti, Vikalp Roop. Okay, it's only Vikalp Roop. The form of knowledge and discernment. Discernment would be reflective thought. You can cancel that word discernment. Here it means reflective thought. The form of knowledge and reflective thought. When contemplation of transient and other similar subjects becomes knowledge based, it is called anupreksha. And when the mind becomes concentrated on transient and other subject, it is called dharma dhyan. So in every 12 reflections, we would be discussing two viewpoints. One is we will present a subject which will leads us to realize that everything is temporary, and at the same time there will be a presentation on something which is permanent. Okay, so something would be impermanence and something would be permanent. So the positive aspect would be connected to the soul, that soul is permanent and everything else is impermanent. So we are just reflecting thoughts on impermanence of the world. At the same time, there is something permanent that we are going to connect to. So this will complete the picture of our contemplation. Contemplation could be about the impermanence and contemplation could be about the permanence on law. But both will lead to the eternal bliss, self-realization, liberation, whatever 5 reasons we have discussed just now. You can connect all the 5 to each and every contemplation that we are going to do. So it has got mass application in our day-to-day life. The contemplation that is focused on the Tattvaparak Chintan. Tattvaparak Chintan means essence or fundamental nature of truth. The 7 fundamentals, okay, which leads to the rise of renunciation. Now, everywhere you will find word renunciation, you have to cancel it and write detachment. Okay, so in soft copy you can do at one place. Just you have to give an instruction that replace word renunciation with detachment. Okay, so this chat GPT has picked up the wrong word, although renunciation is also a meaning. But when we look at the context, detachment is more appropriate. Okay, renunciation we use for tyag. Okay, and here it means detachment, vairagya. Everywhere wherever word vairagya is used, it is to be referred in the sense of detachment. Okay, so the contemplation that is focused on the essence or fundamental elements which leads to the rise of detachment is anupreksha. If there is there any sentient being with mind who is free from contemplation? No, all the time that the thoughts are passing. Okay, now it is our right effort to hang on to those thoughts which are going to benefit us in spiritual development. Okay, and then there are some other thoughts, unwanted thoughts, which we never want in the first place, but it's happening on its own independently. So we don't want to indulge in those thoughts. Okay, so you might have a thought of, say, harming somebody. Would you like to indulge in that? No. Then there could be a thought that you want to help everybody. You know, whoever is difficulty, I am going to help them. You get a thought like that. So you would like to indulge in those kind of thoughts. Okay, so one is auspicious thoughts and the other is inauspicious thought. Okay, but here what we have to do is we have to practice the science of discrimination and connect to the soul. Okay, then only we will be able to enjoy. Otherwise there will be only change of thoughts. One was inauspicious and now you are doing auspicious. So we are not going to be satisfied with the auspicious thought, but we will go beyond that auspicious thought and realize ourselves, connect to our pure soul. So every time we connect to our pure soul, immediately prior to that will be an auspicious thoughts. And these auspicious thoughts are about the soul, which we are going to realize very soon. Okay. So auspicious thought, nobody can go from inauspicious thoughts to the pure thoughts, pure realization. Okay. So in between the auspicious thoughts will come, but we will not be satisfied with auspicious thought. We will also discard that auspicious thought and get into that zone of eternal bliss, deep introspective meditation. Okay. So our contemplation is to get into spiritual meditation, deep introspective meditation. Okay. So that should be our purpose. Is there any sentient being who is free from contemplation? No. Okay. You will be undergoing through some thoughts or the other. It will never happen that you are thoughtless. Okay. Some thoughts will always run through. Okay. For ordinary people, the subject of their contemplation is usually related to the five senses. The cycle of passions governs their stream of contemplation. The contemplation carried out with the aim of fulfilling the desire for Vishay. Vishay means sensual pleasures. Okay. For the desire for sensual pleasure, worldly attachment is not anupreksha. This is not the purpose of contemplation. Okay. When we say contemplation, we contemplate for something benefit, for some benefit. But rather chinta. Okay. It's a cause of concern or anxiety. This chinta is even more burning than chita, the funeral pyre. You know, when a person dies, we keep that body on a funeral pyre and lit it up, and the body turns into ashes. Okay, this is how we deal with the death of a body. Okay, but here it says that contemplation carried out with the aim of fulfilling the desire, sensual desire, is not anupreksha, but it's a concern, anxiety, and this is even more burning than funeral pyre. Why? Because it's going to lead us to karmic bondage, and it's going to lead us to sorrow, grief, pain, misery. Okay, so we don't want those kind of thoughts. We want those kind of thoughts which will lead to eternal bliss, self-realization, experience of the soul. Okay. Okay. The right regulation. Now, this is very important. And this is where our efforts will play a role. Okay. The necessity is not for training in Chintan or Dhyan. Okay. But for the right guidance of direction. This is because Chintan, that is contemplation, and Dhyan, meditation, are inherent qualities of a sentient being. If the flow of Chintan and the objective of Dhyan are not right or clear, then Chintan and Dhyan will not lead to liberation, but rather become the cause for wandering through the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, regulating the flow of thoughts or Chintan or contemplation is not just necessary, but essential. Okay. So we have to give subject to our flow of thoughts. Okay. Although we say that it is not in under our hand, it is happening automatically, independently. But when we say we need to do something intentionally, then at that point of time, our efforts would be directed that we contemplate in the right subjects. Okay. The right regulation of the flow of Chintan is the foundation of the practice of the 12 bhavanas. So here in 12 contemplations, we are putting efforts to regulate the flow of this thought process. The transient nature of associations. Okay. So how we'll do that? First, we have to realize the transient nature of associations. These all associations that we have got in this life are transient. They are not going to be temporary. these are all fleeting. Okay, so there is no point in indulging in this because this is going to leave us anyway. Okay, so let's focus on something which is permanent, which is going to be stationary all the time, which is available for us to connect all the time, which is stable, which will stabilize our mind, which will bring happiness. Okay, and that is our soul. Okay, so the transient nature of associations, the perversion of transformations. So here transformations would be alien dispositions. The perversion, okay, perversion means the wrong belief, okay, of alien disposition, generation of transformation that bring about happiness and rarity through the inherent capability and support of self nature are the central point of the presentation of the 12 bhavnas. So by 12 bhavnas, we want to present a subject where initial stage you will be contemplating, but that contemplation will be about those objects that is going to bring us happiness, and that object is our soul. So in 12 contemplations, we will be contemplating on subjects which will leads us to move towards our soul. Okay, so even if we are contemplating about the transitory nature of this world, okay, of this association, the purpose is not to get involved in the association, but to detach from the associations and focus on the self soul. Okay, so everywhere we will be detaching with something and attaching with our soul, connecting with our soul. Okay, so this will be the methodology of the true contemplations. Okay,
So I had a question.
yes.
So what do you mean by generation of transformation?
So this transformations is what, one thought going away and another thought coming up. Okay, which
Right.
keeps on happening all the time. Okay, so the transient nature of associations, the perversions of transformations, okay, the generation of transformations that bring about happiness, okay, and rarity through the inherent capability. Okay, so we want to get involved in such thoughts which is going to bring us happiness. Okay, so the contemplations, the 12 contemplations, the subject matter of this 12 contemplation is that we contemplate to connect to ourselves. Okay, we contemplate to get into discriminative knowledge. Okay, our sole purpose is to connect to our soul and enjoy eternal bliss. The moment we connect our active consciousness to our soul, we enjoy eternal bliss. And the moment we connect our active consciousness to sensual pleasures, passions, associations, all these are going to manifest attachments, and it's going to lead to new bondages. Okay, and if we are able to transform that our active consciousness from these sensual pleasures, from these associations, and connect to our soul, then it will become a cause of joy. Okay, so 12 contemplations are to bring happiness and not sorrow. Okay, so even if we are discussing a negative aspect to something, it is for the purpose of connecting to the positive. And if we are discussing something from the positive aspect, it is to get further deep into the soul. Okay, so
Okay.
these 12 contemplations are for this only.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, this is because such a chintan is capable of giving the right awareness, right direction through its renunciation. So renunciation would be detachment producing and truth focused nature. So we want to detach with everybody, everything, and connect to our soul. Okay, so this will happen simultaneously, but while discussing, we can discuss something from one perspective only. So 12 thoughts will be to detach from something and connect to something. So connect to something is not something. We know we want to connect to soul because that is the source of our eternal bliss. The soul is full of infinite attributes. The soul is a mass of infinite attributes. Okay. And each attributes leads to happiness. Okay. Each attribute manifests into happiness. Okay. So from the positive side, we have everything that is going to benefit us. But from the negative side, we have to contemplate. Why? Because of our ignorance, because of delusion, we have been connecting to the wrong connections since time immemorial. Now, with this Jinwani, today there is Shruth Panchami. Today is the day when the first scripture, Shat Khandagam, was being written. The writing started today, or the um, uh, or the first scripture ended on today. The writing of the first scripture ended today. Okay, we are going to study a story in Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho about this. So in earlier times, you know, the Tirthankar's voice is the main source of all our instructions. So from those sermons, it went to Gandhar. And from Gandhar to Acharyas, Acharyas to Acharyas, it was just being passed on through mouth publicity. There was nobody to write. The writing was not invented. Okay. Then what happened? There was nobody to grasp that knowledge. You can pass on if anybody is ready to take up, but there was nobody to take up. So what happened? So Acharyas thought then this flow of the journey of liberation will stop. Okay, because there is nobody to pass on and my age is limited. So if I die, with me this legacy will also die. So he called for two disciples, you know, and he selected them. First, he took an examination of those two disciples, whether they are capable of my passing on my legacy to them. And when he was satisfied that no, they are quite capable, then he transformed all the knowledge to them. And they wrote the scriptures. And these two disciples were Bhutbali and Pushpadant. And the Acharya who passed on to them, the name of the Acharya is Dharsen Acharya. And this is how the Jinwani came into being. So today we celebrate Shruth Panchami as a day, as a mark of respect that the first scripture, Sat Khandagam, was completed on this day. Okay. So this story we will read in Aap Kuch Bhi Kaho, very good book consisting of 11 stories, you know, that will be as a self-study book, but nevertheless we will cover that in class also because it's very, very interesting stories. So one of these stories is this. So, the thing is that how I connected to this Shruth Panchami. Because such a Shintan is capable of giving the right awareness, right direction, okay, through its renunciation, not renunciation, through its detachment, producing and truth-focused nature, okay. So if Jinwani would not have been there, we would not have got this path of becoming happy. And this happiness is permanent happiness, you know, even in times of adversities, in times of challenging situation in your life, this eternal flow of happiness will still continue. And that's how the monk, when they get afflictions from outside, you know, somebody trying to burn them, somebody putting hot jewels on their mouth, somebody physically injuring them, they still remain engrossed in their meditation. Why? Because they are extracting the eternal happiness from the soul. They are busy in that. So they are busy in that. The outside impact in the body does not disturb their concentration power. That is the power of this eternal bliss. Okay. So the more we extract, the more stronger we become. Okay. So the monks have renounced everything and they have. Are you asking anything? Somebody asking anything? Everybody stay on mute because somebody talking from your background also disturbances my concentration. Okay. So this Jinwani has come to us. We are very fortunate, and each sentence of this Jinwani leads to eternal bliss. Okay. So happiness is a way of life for all seekers. Okay. There is nothing else we want in this life because everything else leads to delusion, everything else leads to sorrow, misery, pain, grief. Okay. Only the part that we enjoy is when we realize ourselves, when we experience this eternal bliss. Okay. From this perspective, if we leave aside the widely prevalent sequence of the 12 contemplations and certain exceptions of bhavanas, and if we study the universally accepted sequence of the 12 contemplations, we will naturally observe that the initially 6 contemplations are Vairagya Utpadak. What does this mean? Vairagya Utpadak. Vairagya Utpadak means causing the rise of detachment, passionlessness. Okay. Vairagya Utpadak means you are not manifesting passions. So initial 6 contemplation will lead to detachment. Detachment from what? Detachment from associations, sansar, sarir or bhog. These are the words written in Hindi. Sansar, sarir or bhogo se virakt karte hain. Okay. Virakt. Virakt means detached. Okay. So it is going to detach you from sansar. So what is this sansar? Sansar is rag, dves, attachments and aversion that we are manifesting all the time. So this is sansar, not the worldly existence. That is the very gross sansar. The sthul suksham sansar is the rag, des, attachment, aversion that we manifest. Sansar. Sarir is body. Okay. So sansar, sarir and bhog. Bhog is sensual pleasures. These 3 things, the initial 6 contemplations will help us to detach from sansar, sarir and bhog. Sansar is attachment, aversions, worldly existence. Sarir is body, and we will detach from the sensual pleasures. And the next 6 contemplations, which focused on the principles of truth, Tattva Parak, 7 fundamentals. Okay. So that will actually help us in practicing the discriminative knowledge. Okay. The next 6. A natural progression is also evident in the sequence of each contemplation. So all these 12 contemplations are connected to one another, and one will lead to the next level. The next will lead to the next level. So there you will see a natural progression. Natural progression in terms of what? In terms of the process of discriminative knowledge. Okay. Each contemplation will lead you to detach from something. Okay. Detach from something, and connection will also be discussed in those 12 contemplations. So okay. So each contemplation will lead to detachment to something and connecting to your soul. The next contemplation will lead detach to something and connect to the soul. So the first 6 contemplations are going to detach from the associations and body and the sensual pleasures that we all the time indulge in, and it will also help in connecting to the soul. So first 6 contemplations are about soul and non-soul elements, and the next 6 contemplations are about the next 5 elements: influx, bondage, stoppage, dissociation and liberation. Okay. So we will be covering in the next 6 completion this. To understand this in depth, it is necessary not only to know the sequential names of the 12, bhavnas, but also to have a general understanding of their nature. Therefore, a general overview is expected prior to the analytical study. Okay, so we will see each contemplations from this perspective, that H is going to be leads us to happiness. Now, the 12 names are given. Hindi names are given as a transliteration, and in the bracket, the main word in English is also given. So the first one is impermanence. It's written here, but it would be impermanence of the world. So we will contemplate on the impermanence of the world, and simultaneously, once we are done with that, we will also see what is permanent in the world. And everywhere the soul will be positioned as the positive aspect, that permanence is only the soul. Soul never dies, it is eternal, it is permanent. So you take shelter into this and don't take shelter into the impermanent things of the world. This will be the modus operandi of each contemplation. Okay. So I am explaining you one in the introduction itself, so that when we later on study each contemplations, you will realize that this is the how we will connect. Now the second one, no one can provide protection. Here it is written lack of refugee, that is meaning the same, but no one can provide protection would be a good word to express asharan bhavna. Okay. The third is sansar bhavna. So sansar is, as I said, worldly existence. No, this is not the sansar that we want to discuss here. Here we want to discuss meaningless of all attachments. So it would be meaninglessness or it would be meaningless. I think meaninglessness would be fit more. Okay. So third is meaninglessness of all attachments. Sansar bhavna. Okay. Sansar bhavna, here it is written cycle of birth and death. So we want to disconnect from the cycle of birth and death. That also we can see. The fourth one is ekatva bhavna, oneness. Okay. So the good word would be solitude of the soul. Here we will contemplate on the solitude nature of the soul. Then the fifth one, anyatva bhavna, otherness. Separateness of the soul. Here we will be discussing separateness of the soul. The sixth one is asuchi. Asuchi is impurity. Impurity of what? Impurity of the body. Okay. So 6 are over, and these 6 altogether will help you in discriminating between the self and the non-self, and it will also be helping you in detaching from the attachment, aversions, body, associations, sensual pleasures. Okay, all these 6 will help you into that and also connect to the soul. Now the seventh one. Seventh is asrav. So asrav is again a name of a fundamental element, reasons for the influx of karma. Okay, so here we'll be contemplating on the reasons for influx of karma and how could we get rid of these influxes and connect to our soul. That also will be discussed there. Eighth, stoppage of influx. This is again a name of an element, and here we will see how we can stop this influx. Number 9, so asrav, then samvar. Samvar here is written restraint. Restraint is not the word that we used for samvar, but ChatGPT has done it. So we can, good name would be stoppage. Not restraint, but you can correct it to stoppage. Okay. The next one is nirjara. This is again a name of the element. And destructions of inflows is written here in the bracket, but we will take it as dissociation of karma. Dissociation of karma. Okay, you are writing simultaneously. That's very good. Then the 10th would be lok. So if we correct on the class, so and we keep on updating this, then it will be better for all. Okay. But I have already taken a printout, so I have done it physical corrections. But there are very few here and there. So nothing to, but the flow of language is very good. Okay. Now the 10th one is Lok Bhavna, nature of the universe. Okay. So in the nature of the universe, we would of course be discussing the nature of the universe and trying to detach from that. But the main discussion point of would be to discuss about Chaitanya Lok. Chaitanya Lok. Chaitanya means our soul. Okay. How is our soul element? That will be also discussed. Then 11 is Bodhi Durlabh, rare to achieve enlightenment. Okay. Rarity of attainment of the true path of liberation. This will also be discussed, but the main discussion would be in the how easily you can get connected to right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. That also will be discussed. This is positive and this is negative. Okay, so we will be discussing from two perspectives all the 12 contemplation. One would be the positive side, other would be the negative. The next is the dharma. Okay, last one is the dharma. So dharma, here it is written righteousness, but no, the good word would be the nature of the true religion and its importance. That is dharma bhavana, the nature of the true religion and its importance. Okay, so I hope you have got the correct names. These names are arrived at after doing many research by the Jeev team, the Jeev platform that we have written around 108 articles are there in that going to come up. I think 36 are uploaded and the next 36 would be uploaded very soon. So this is the platform where we have tried to uh, write everything in English, and for that we have done so much of research and we have found out these good words. Okay, so we will try to keep uniformity of the words. So we are using these words, but our translation team is they have some other ideas. So they mostly use Hindi words. They want to popularize these Hindi words, so they have used it that way. But when you are but for us, it doesn't make any difference because we know the meaning of now each of the words. Okay. Okay. So after explaining these 12 names, we will start reading from here, and it's all very simple, but nevertheless, I will highlight what is to be focused on. Okay. Himali, you start reading
Okay, sir.
if you are comfortable. Otherwise, I will ask somebody else.
So I'm fine. I can read.
Okay.
The principal associations of the Sansar Jeev, that is worldly being, are predominantly with spouse and children, house and property, wealth and money, and the body. Among these, the closest association is with the body itself. In the contemplation of Anitya Bhavana, the impermanence of these associations is reflected in Asaran Bhavana, their inability to provide refuge, and in Sansar Bhavana, their nature as sources of suffering and insignificance is pondered. The thought of individuality within oneself and separation from associations is successively addressed in Ekatva and Anyatva Bhavana, contemplating the impurity and defilement of associations, the body, is the essence of Asuchi Bhavana. Thus, we observe that although the subject of contemplation in these bhavanas pertains to association, the nature of contemplative flow is such that it leads to detachment rather than attachment. Therefore, these 6 bhavanas are primarily Vairagyotopadaka, causing the rise of renunciation, detachment, Astrav, Samvar, and Nirjara. Asrav, Samvar, and Nirjara are explicitly the names of tattvas, fundamental truths and elements. Hence, their contemplation is naturally tattva prakar, which is focused on the principle of truth. Similarly, in Bodhi Durlabh Bhavana and Dharma Bhavana, due to the discussions of virtues like the Ratnatraya, three jewels, the contemplation remains Tattva Prakar. In Loka Bhavana, if the focus shifts from detailed structure of the universe to its essential nature, the contemplation also becomes unequivocally Tattva Prakar. The contemplations related to Lok Bhavana, as presented in Pandit Daulat Ramji's Chhadhala, provide insight into this perspective. किनहु न करो न धराय को सदा सद्र वे माई न हराय को सो लोका मम्ही बिना संकता दुख सहे जीवानिता भ्रमता. The lok, which is universe, composed of 6 types of substances, was neither created nor held by anyone, nor can anyone destroy it. In this self-existent, eternal and infinite lok, the jeev, or soul, wandering without equanimity, has been enduring infinite suffering since time immemorial. This is a philosophical statement from the perspective of its essential meaning. So should I? Okay.
Yeah, continue.
Okay. Thus we observe that the initial 6 bhavanas are Vairogya Padaka, which is causing the rise of detachment, while the concluding 6 are Tattva Prakar, focused on the principles of truth. However, it would not be appropriate to see this as a strict rule, as this statement is made only in terms of primary and secondary emphasis. When the ground of disposition, Bhav Bhumi, becomes softened and moistened through contemplations that generate renunciation, I think detachment again, Vairagya Padaka Chintan, the seed of contemplation on truth, which is Tattva Chintan, sown in it, do not go waste. These seeds sprout, grow, bear fruits, and ultimately achieve fullness. On the other hand, seeds sown in hard and barren ground perish. Therefore, the effort of tilling and irrigating the soil should not be considered futile. The initial 6 bhavanas primarily serve the purpose of tilling the bhav bhumi and irrigating it with the nectar of detachment, vairagya ras, which is not merely necessary but indispensable. Within the sequence of 12 bhavanas, the progressive development of Bhed Vigyan, which is discriminative knowledge, is also evident. If the initial 6 bhavanas convey the message of instability, separateness, and impurity of external associations, which is Samyog, and inspire the aspirant to turn inward by ending the outward orientation rooted in beginless time, then the 7th Asrav Bhavana generates detachment from the mental disposition, such as delusion, that arise due to the attachment of associations and false perversions. Mithyatwadi Vikar. Further, the Samvar, Nirjara, Lok, Bodhi Dudlabh, and Dharma Bhavnas pave the way for dedication of the pure essence of the soul, which is Nij Suddhatma Vata, under whose shelter the pure dispositions, Nirmal Paryay, in the form of Ratnatraya, 3 jewels, manifest, such as Samvar, restraint, etc. For the Atmatik Mumukshu, seeking liberation, the contemplations of the 12th bhavana is not an occasional task but a daily practice. Consequently, contemplations on the subject have been conducted from various perspectives at multiple levels of depth, while on one hand a single verse conveys the essence of 12 bhavanas, on the other hand entire treatises have been written on their exposition. Number 16, Adhyatmic poet Pandit.
Yes, stop. So here we see that the gradual progress in the science of discrimination. Okay, so first 6, as said, they help in softening the land. And then if you are sowing something, if you are sowing the seed in that land, then you will have some crop coming up. Okay. These seeds sprout, grow, bear fruit, and ultimately achieve fullness. On the other hand, seeds sown in hard and barren ground perish. Therefore, the effort of tilling and irrigating the soil should not be considered futile. So, initial 6 bhavnas primarily serve the purpose of tilling the bhav bhumi and irrigating it with the nectar of detachment. Again, vairagya ras. Okay, that is nectar of detachment. So when you detach, that is the time you enjoy eternal bliss, and that is the nectar. Okay, which is not merely necessary but indispensable. Okay, so in a brief, they have explained all the 6 bhavnas. Okay, and we will be, of course, doing one in detail later on. So the primarily all the six bhavnas, or the 12 bhavnas, causing the rise of detachment. Okay, causing the rise of detachment. So everywhere in each bhavna we will have 2 perspective to consider. One would be to getting detached with something, and the other would be to connecting to something. Now, if you keep this in mind, you will be able to enjoy the 12 contemplations. Okay. So, this paragraph is very important. This will be a part of your CC3. Okay. Within the sequence of the 12 bhavnas on page number 15, you can see in the middle. Okay. Within the sequence of the 12 bhavnas, the progressive development of discriminative knowledge is also evident. So I want to use this 12 contemplation as a progressive development of discriminative knowledge. Okay. So in each bhavna, of course, you have to add bullet points from each chapter. Okay. But the theme would be to write in CC3 this progressive development of discriminative knowledge by using these 12 bhavnas. Okay. If the initial 6 bhavna convey the message of the instability, okay, instability means impermanence, message of instability. In under instability, we have many bhavnas covering up. Then we have separateness. Then we have impurity of external associations. Okay. So this connects all these, the first 6 contemplations are interconnected. Here they are showing the connection. If the initial 6 bhavnas convey the message of the instability, separateness, impurity of external association. External association means sanyog. Okay. And inspire the aspirant to turn inward. Now this is very important. Inspire the aspirant to turn inward, because there is no happiness in the external associations, right? So automatically, if you contemplate on all these, then you will lead to some conclusion, and that conclusion will lead the aspirant to turn inward. And when you turn inward, what you will realize? What is there in when you turn inward? What you connect to? You connect to your soul. The active consciousness connecting to external associations is being wasted. Okay. Because there you are not going to get happiness, because there is no happiness. But when you turn it inward and it connects to the soul, and because the soul is full of attributes like happiness, you will be connecting to happiness, and that is the time you will realize yourself. Okay. So turning inward is very important. All the Jinvani is only for one thing, to turn inward. Turn inward. Swabhav Sanmukh, okay, is turn inward. By ending the outward orientation, rooted in beginningless time. So from beginningless time, what we have been doing? Outward orientation. That is what we have been doing. And now what we have to do? Turn inward. Okay. Then the seventh asra bhavana generates detachment from the mental disposition, such as delusions, attachments, aversions that arise due to attachment to association and false perspective. Mithyatva adi vikar. Okay, false perspective. So if your belief turns right, everything will be right. Okay. So by understanding these 12 contemplations, we will try to turn our belief from false to right. At the same time, our active consciousness will also turn inward, and we will be able to realize ourselves. Okay. Further, the Samvar, Nirjara, Lok, Bodhi, Durlabh and Dharma Bhavnas pave the way for dedication to the pure essence of the soul. Okay. So the first 6 are for detachment and the next 6 are for connection to the self. In this way, we can summarize. Samvar, Nirjara, Lok, Bodhi, Durlabh and Dharma Bhavnas pave the way for dedication to the pure essence of the soul, under whose shelter the pure dispositions in the form of Ratnatraya, 3 jewels, manifest. Okay. So ultimately what will happen? Under whose shelter. Okay. So we are connecting to the pure soul, and under whose shelter the pure dispositions. So when you connect to the pure soul, pure disposition in the form of Ratnatraya manifest. Okay. And it's not only manifesting, you are also enjoying it, experiencing it. Okay. Such as Samvar. Samvar is stoppage, etc. So it is stoppage, dissociation, liberation. Okay. Asravbandh are impure disposition, and this stoppage, dissociation and liberation are pure disposition. Okay. So impure will stop and pure will flow. Okay. And this purity will keep on increasing, and one day will come when you will manifest 100% purity, and 100% impurity will completely get evacuated, eliminated. Okay. And that is called liberation. For Atmarthi Mumukshu, okay, spirants seeking liberation, the contemplation of the 12 bhavana is not an occasional task, but a daily practice. Consequently, contemplation on this subject have been conducted from various perspectives and at multiple levels of depth. While on one hand, a single verse conveys the essence of 12 bhavnas. So this verse written by Pandit Bhagchandji, you will see that all the 12 contemplations names are included in one. On the other hand, an entire scripture treatises have been written on their exposition. Okay. So it's such a vast subject that you can write a complete scripture on 12 bhavnas, and on the one hand you can just include the 12 bhavnas in one verse. Now you could see the word anitya. Jaga hai anitya. Okay, this word shows the first bhavana. 1 minute, I'll just connect to the Hindi one. So the pronunciations. Jag hai anitya. Okay. So jag hai anitya. So anitya is the first bhavana. Tame saran na vastu koi. Saran, again, second number. Tate dukha rasi bhavvas. Bhav is sansar. Okay. Then ek chit, ekatva bhavana. भिन्न परद्रव्यनि, अन्यत्व भावना. असुचि, असुचि भावना. रागादिक भाव करे कर्म को बढ़ावे ताते. This is influx. Then samvar swarup. stoppage. Then karmabandh darye, dissociation. Then teen lok bhavna. Then 10th, then jind dharma, ek durlabh hai, rarity of attainment of true religion, 11th number. Then tate jind dharma ko na chinhu visarye, don't forget the religion for moment also. That is jind dharma. That is the 12th reflections. Okay. So all these 12 included in one verse, and you can write a complete book on this. So it's a very big subject. Now, a deep examination of above words clearly reveals that the core essence of contemplating the 12 bhavnas has been fully incorporated into it, this particular verse. The contemplative process embedded in the 12 bhavnas displays a sequential development that is completely free from any trace of artificiality. Okay, so there is no artificiality, but there is going to be a progressive, I would say, progressive transformation or progressive practice of science of discrimination. Okay. The contemplative process embedded in the 12 bhavnas displays a sequential development that is completely free from any trace of artificiality. The 12 bhavnas serve as a means to comprehend the impermanence. The second one, helplessness. The third one, worthlessness of external association. Okay, such as family, wealth, sensual pleasures, and the body, to which the worldly being remains attached. Okay. This contemplative process is extraordinary in its ability to reveal these truths. In the contemplation of Anitya Bhavna, it is highlighted that the association you wish to retain forever are inherently transient and impermanent. Okay, so you want to retain this association, but these associations are impermanent. So there is no way you can attain. So ultimately you have to connect to what is permanent, and that is our soul. So in this manner that will be discussed. Your family, wealth, and sensual pleasures cannot remain with you eternally. Either they will leave you, or when you face death, you will inevitably be separated from there. On hearing this, the attachment-driven being tries various means to safeguard these associations. So now we are coming on to the second contemplation. When they think of avoiding their own death and preventing separation, Asharana Bhavna, the second one, explains that separation is the natural tendency of association. All associations comes with separation as a rule. Okay, so separation is the natural tendency of association, and there is no way to prevent it. No medicine, chant, or talisman, okay, can save you or your loved ones from death. At this point, now coming on to the third, the individual might think, if not these associations, the other associations will surely be available. In response, through Sansar Bhavna, it is explained that there is no happiness in any association, as all associations are inherently full of suffering. The individual might then think, let us collectively enjoy everything. To this, Ekatva Bhavna firmly asserts that suffering cannot be divided or shared. It must be borne individually. Each individual has come here on its own alone and will go also alone. There is nobody, friends, buddy, family, nobody going to come with us. This concept is further reinforced through Anyatva Bhavna, which explains that no one can accompany you or share your burden. Even if the body cannot remain with you, how can family members like your spouse and children can remain with you? So again there. Now the last, sixth one. In Asuchi Bhavana, it is conveyed that the body which you are so attached to is extremely impure. It is essentially a house of filth and excrement. Okay. Thus, the initial six bhavana generate detachment from the world, the body, the sensual pleasures, preparing the Atma to understand beneficial spiritual principles. Okay. So that will come in the next six. Though through these bhavanas, the Atma also realizes its distinctness from external entities like the body, thereby crossing the first step of Ved Vigyan, discriminative knowledge. Okay. When the soul, detached from the body and other external entities, resides within its intrinsic nature of gun and paryay form. Okay. Gun is attribute and paryay is modification form. Asrav bhavana then helps influx. Contemplation of influx then helps in understanding the nature of negative emotions, okay, like delusions, passions arising within the soul. It explains that these asrav bhavs are the cause of suffering, are impure and lead to misery. In contrast, the pure soul is the embodiment of happiness, a source of bliss, and supremely pure. So you see how you can perform this science of discrimination. On one hand, they are showing the associations as the cause of suffering, impure and misery. On the other hand, they are showing the soul as the embodiment of happiness, source of bliss and supreme pure. So now you have to make a choice. Okay. They will, everywhere you will be present the facts that we are reading now. It will present you a fact, what is to be done. Now you have to take the decision. In this way, after diverting the focus from asravas, that is influx, samvar bhavana and nirjara bhavana guide the individual towards the understanding of transcendental blissful principles of stoppage and dissociation, inspiring the attainment of these states. Okay. So we have covered 9 bhavanas. Now the 10th is the lok bhavana. Subsequently, through lok bhavana, the nature of the lok is described. In Bodhi Durlabh Bhavana, it is emphasized that in this universe, only the Ratnatraya is truly rare. All other associations have been obtained countless times. What is this Ratnatraya? You know, no? 3 gems: right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. Okay. All other associations have been obtained countless times, but the Ratnatraya has not been attained. If it had been achieved, liberation from the cycle of existence would have already been attained. Okay. Finally, in Dharma Bhavana, it is conveyed that the worship of the supremely rare Ratnatraya Dharma is the ultimate essence of Manushya Bhav, human mode of life. The true purpose of Manushya Bhav lies solely in attaining the Ratnatraya Dharma, which consists of Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan and Samyak Charitra, all of which arise from the eternal, unchanging and intrinsic soul. Okay. In this way, we observe that the process of contemplating the 12 reflections is extraordinary and awe-inspiring in itself. This is because it provides a proper and successful means to establish a world engrossed in attachment to the cycle of existence, the body, and pleasures onto a path of infinite bliss. This is precisely why the contemplation of the 12 reflection is the most cherished mental daily nourishment for the spiritually inclined community. Although the contemplation of these 12 reflection is equally beneficial for both knowledgeable and the ignorant, due to lack of proper understanding of their true essence, Ignorant individuals often experience harm instead of benefit. Initially, they regard the body and other worldly association as good and develop endless attachment to them. However, when they understand the impermanence, helplessness, insignificance, and impurity of these worldly associations, as described in the 12 reflection, they begin to harbor aversion towards them. The true fruit of contemplating the 12 reflection of is detachment. Okay, not aversion, not attachment, but detachment, passionlessness, vitrakta, but they fail to achieve it. Okay, so one paragraph is read left, and our time is over, but I will take 5 minutes more to complete this first chapter, introductory chapter. So the next class we will begin with the first contemplation of impermanence of the world. Okay, so what this last paragraph, the Todarmalji is concluding here, by contemplating the impermanence and similar reflection, that is means 12 reflections. If one begins to perceive the body and other attachments as bad, not as beneficial, and becomes indifferent towards them, this is referred to as anupreksha by a ignorant person. It is akin to a situation where someone was once a friend and there was affection for them, but later upon noticing their faults, one became indifferent. Okay. Similarly, there was attachment to the body and other objects, but upon observing their flaws, such as impermanence, one become indifferent. However, this kind of indifference is essentially a form of aversion. Okay, so this is not true contemplations, 212 contemplation. Then what would be it? So it's being explained there. Recognizing and understanding the nature of oneself. Okay, oneself means our own soul and one's body as they truly are. So soul element and non-soul elements as truly as they are. Dispelling illusions, ignorance, delusions, and neither becoming attached by seeing them as good nor feeling aversion by seeing them as bad. Such true detachment means engaging in the proper contemplation of impermanence and similar truth, which alone constitutes genuine anupreksha, reflection. All beings should strive to understand the true nature of the 12 reflection and use them to achieve their ultimate well-being. For this, a detailed practice of each reflection is essential and required. Therefore, with a resolve to undertake the individual contemplation of each reflection for the benefit of oneself and others, I conclude here. Okay, so here the first chapter ends, and the next class we will be beginning with the next first contemplation, that is impermanence of the world. Okay. Today there is some disturbance in the recording. I don't know. I will be able to retrieve it. How I will do it, I don't know. But maybe by tomorrow I will share the recording, whatever is available. And you read it again, this chapter. And I would also be sharing the Hindi lecture on this. There was a lot of discussions on the Hindi lectures also. So I would request you listen to both the things. This you attending live, and you can again connect to the Hindi lecture also, so that you understand these 12 reflections properly. English has its own limitation. It's not our mother tongue, and the translation also, they have done a very good job. ChatGPT has done a very good job. I cannot find such words, you know. I really appreciate their work, quality of work. But having said that, if you read it again and again, you will understand it better. And if you are struck up somewhere, you can always call me for any discussions, and I will be more happy to discuss. Okay.
So I have a question
Yeah, you
ask
can.
right now.
Yes.
So on page number 15, it's said that when the grounds of disposition become softened and moistened through contemplation, blah blah. So the seeds of contemplation on truth sown in it don't go waste. Then it says, on the other hand, seeds sown on hard and barren grounds perish.
Hmm.
So when they are saying this, so every soul is capable of, progressing, right? So
Hmm.
who are they referring to when they are talking of this hard and barren ground?
So, like the first 6 contemplation, the contest is that they explain the first 6 contemplations, and they say that these first 6 contemplations helps you in detaching from the associations, from the body, from the attachments and aversions, and from the sensual pleasures. Okay. So by first doing these first 6 contemplations, you are making the land, ready for fertile.
Right.
So this first six contemplation plays that role. Okay. It helps you in detaching from all these things that you have been indulging in since from time immemorial. So it is helping you to detach. And then when you turn inward, then you will be able to connect to your soul. So that is what they mean. So the example was given here.
Okay. No, sir, I thought they were talking about people who are in doubt, inconclusiveness, and those with erroneous cognition. I was thinking of that. So that's not how it is.
No. This is about the land. The land, if you are sowing seeds in a land which is good for fertile, then it will produce the crops and the results, right?
Right.
So before entering into practice of discriminative knowledge, that is the second 6 contemplations, first 6 contemplation at least help you to detach from all these connections. Okay. So here it is written, when the ground of disposition becomes softened and moistened through contemplation that generate, renunciation is detachment. Okay. That generate detachment, the seeds of contemplation on truth. Okay. This is the next 6. Tattva Chintan. Sown in it, do not go waste. Okay. So the next 6 will not go waste if you understand the first 6, which will detach you from this, and the next 6 will help you to connect to your soul better. Okay.
Right.
These seeds sprout, grow, bear fruit, and ultimately achieve fullness. On the other hand, seeds sown in hard and barren ground perish because it will not yield result. Okay.
Correct.
Therefore, the effort of tilling and irrigating the soil should not be considered futile. So the first 6 are not futile. It is also helping you in practicing discriminative knowledge. So first 6 are covering soul and non-soul element, and the next 6 are covering the other 5 elements. So 12 reflections is nothing but we are again studying the 7 fundamental elements from a different perspective. Okay.
Okay, I got it, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So now first I have to निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना 7 बार है. 9 times नमोकार मंत्र. कुलदात सांगी जिनवाणी माता की जय. जय जिनेन्द्र.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you, sir.
Very nice.
जय.
Jai Jinendra.
how do I?
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra, Jai Jinendra. I have to just close this recording so you can leave. All of you can leave. I will just see how I can stop the recording. There is no option coming up here.